Welcome to the day 5th of our course. Let's today we will start making a basic model of a room with the furniture on it. And but before starting with that, I would like you all to share the work if you have created anything new or if there is a progress from your side.
Yes, sir, I want to share my screen and I have a doubt too.
Okay, sure.
This is Ankita. Yes, sir. Sir, so
Yes,
here is
Ankita.
my model, and as you can see here, I have created a window that is a component. This window is a component inside a group of walls.
Okay.
So now, as I have made a component, and in the properties also, in components also, here is the window, and in properties, you can see I've ticked it on cut openings.
Okay.
But when I'm copying it on another surface, I'm not getting a cut opening.
Yes, that may happen because cut opening works only on a single face, not on two faces. Okay, so maybe you got the cut opening only on one of the faces and not on both the faces of the walls.
Okay, so for that, what we have to do, because walls are having some thickness like 100 or 200 mm.
Yes.
How we can make a opening like to?
For that, we will be using the plugins to optimize this. So that's a limitation, but you can work around. You can create two different set of openings. I mean, set of distinct components, and then place them on both the wall surfaces. Okay, that way you can get a cut opening, but again that's a very difficult way to do, so better to work with plugins. I will introduce it to you at a later stage of our course.
Okay, sir. So here I have created these sofas. Like this sofa is a group, and I have copied it and rotated it and placed it in a room setup. Then here I have created a TV unit, which itself is a group, and then there I have divided it into three components. That is, this is a back panel, this is the top, and another is the lower shelves.
Okay, very good.
And then here I have created the vases, and by using scale, I have just moduled it into different shapes and sizes.
Okay, very good. So you have created everything in here, right?
Yeah, I've tried to.
Okay. Very
nice, in this also, I've tried to do by using axis, by orienting the axis, and I've created these grooves just.
Okay, great, very nice. And what about the cushions on your sofa?
Sir.
Did you create them?
Yes, sir. I have created a cushion, and it took a lot of time.
Okay. How did you do that?
Sir, this is my cushion. As you can see, this is my cushion, and here I have created a component one. And first of all, I've created a shape like this.
In plan.
Yeah, and then I have pulled up, and then by using scale I have tapered the edges on the top, and then I made a component, and then I have mirrored it.
Very good. That's quite smart actually. Yeah.
So this is how I have created a cushion.
Okay.
And then by using erase and by softening the edges, I have softened the edges.
Soften the edges. Okay. It's looking like a real cushion. Very good. We will be working with further plugins and extensions where creating complicated objects like cushions and cloth will be very easy and comfortable to you. You can create them much more easily.
Yes, sir, but because now, this was very difficult to make actually.
I can understand. But for now, just for practice, you can try creating different objects with the help of the basic tools of SketchUp. so
Yes.
that you understand the tools in a much better way.
Yes.
Okay, good work, Ankita.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, here we have a new file of SketchUp. I will start creating a room. Let's create a room of size, let's say 3600 by 3600. And to create the walls, I will quickly do an offset on the outer side, and I'll create walls of 100 mm. And for the external wall, let's say this is an external wall, I will further move it on this direction, on the green direction, by 100, so that I get an external wall of 200 thickness. Okay, so I don't need this, I'll erase this. I just need the walls. So first thing I'm going to do is double click. Make sure whenever you create groups or to select something to create a group or a component, you select everything you want to put it into a group or component. Don't just select the face and create it into a component. Select everything and make it into a group. I'm using shortcut Control G. That's a custom shortcut. Then push pull this, and I'll give it a height of 3000. So we have our walls. Okay, now I'll create the floor as well. So I'll click, I will pick the outer side, and again double clicking it, so select everything, and I'll make it into a group. Now my practice is that I create the group as soon as I create a 2D object. That means whenever I create a particular face, I directly convert it into a group, and then I further proceed it to extrude and everything, to give it a thickness. I'll give it a thickness of 150. So you can do a similar practice. That way your model will be much organized, because once you create the 3D geometry, you have much more faces to select, and accidentally there might be certain cases where you miss out a particular edge to select while converting the group. So the best practice will be to create the group as soon as you create a 2D geometry. Now I have the walls, I have the floor. Now let's use the guides to create our door first. Let's have a door of 900, enter, and I will create the height of the door will be 2100. I'm just considering standard ones. Now here I will need a window at a height of 2100, say, with a sill level at let's say 450. Okay, so we have the sill level and the window. Now from here I'm considering 750, and from here I'm considering 750 for our window. Now in order to create the openings, if I go on creating a rectangle here, I will not be able to push pull it inside the wall, right? So to create a push pull or modify the walls, I need to go inside the group, and I will be able to create the rectangle. And this time I had divided the face in two halves, as we had seen earlier, and I'll push pull it. Now it will say that push pull is limited to -100, because at 100 it will erase the original face, and it will create a puncture. So if you don't get to pick the face, if you don't see on face here, then you can also click one of the exterior edge of the wall, because it will again equal to the thickness of the wall, right? So in that case also you will get the opening. Similarly, I will create a rectangle here. Since I'm inside the same group, I can click and click here to get our opening. So we have the door opening and the window opening. Now since this is this wall has a thickness, so I will be creating the openings manually and then placing the windows. Next, I will create a bed, and for the bed, I will create a rectangle somewhere here of 2000 by 2000. We have the rectangle, and double click, make it into a group, push pull this to give it a height of 400, and on top of this I will add a mattress, but let's first create a backrest. Again, for the backrest, I'm not placing it properly. I'm just creating them for now. So I will create a backrest of, again, 2000 by our headboard, by 2000 by 50 or by 100. So we have the headboard. Double click, create it into a group, push pull this, and I will give it a height of 900. Now, in order to place this at the center of this particular headboard, I will pick the center and I'll move it towards the green axis and pick the center of this headboard, right? So we have it placed at the center. We have aligned it along the green axis. Now I need to align it along the red axis. So red axis, I'll pick the red axis point and move it here. Thus we have got this aligned properly, right? So I'll select both and move this. Again, make sure I move it to the corner of the wall, and connect it to the wall, and pick the center. I want to move it, place it at the center of the wall. So I will click on I'll fix the move towards the green axis and pick the center of this wall here. So we have now placed the bed at the center of this room accurately, that is. So here we have, I think it's 800. Yes, 800. So I'll create a side table of 800 by 450. So this is a side table. Now this time I'm going to create this as a component. Call this a side table. Create, because I need two side tables, right, at 450. Now in order to place the other side table, I can just copy it, but I would mirror this, because in case we want it to be mirrored while designing, then that will happen automatically, right? And that's how we have a room with this, and I can select all 4 of the components and convert them into a component. Let's say I'll call this a double bed. Great. I will be adding more details to all of the furniture, but let's start with adding just the placeholder furniture. Now I need, let's say, a wardrobe here. So the wardrobe will be, I'm just creating an arbitrary dimension. Let's say 2400 by 600 will be the depth of the wardrobe. So we have this, convert this into a group and push pull this up to the height we need. I'm just considering the sill level for now, and I need to flush this with the door. So now we have the wardrobe and other furniture placed here. Now let's create the mattress. Now whenever I try to modify one of the objects and I work on a very tight space, I find it very difficult to create any further objects or work with it, right? So for that, what we can do here is, since only this particular component is active and rest of the rest of the models are not active, so we can hide the rest of the model and work on only this particular component. For that, we can use a tool in our preferences. I think it is somewhere here. I prefer to use the shortcut instead. Let me show you where it is actually. Let's go with shortcut. In filter, you can search for hide rest of model. If you see, you will see that here, hide rest of model. Okay. Now I have the shortcut J here. Let's erase this. I will add the shortcut J, edit, and OK. Now if I press J once, you can see rest of the model is hidden. Only the active group or component is visible. And if I click outside to close my component, everything becomes visible. Similarly, if I double click here, only this particular component is visible. The rest of the model becomes hidden. So you can toggle this by pressing the J key on your keyboard, whether you want to show this or not. And you can work in a much more clean environment so that the remaining part of the model does not interfere with your current model. So let's add some detail here. I will create a matrix, and I will try to create a matrix which is let's say which has a cushion cover, and I'll create this into a group, push pull this to 150 height. And next thing, I want a curve from all direction. So let's create an arc. Now here's a quick tip. If you want to create a fillet, what you can do here is you can pick the arc, shortcut is A, click at one edge and click on the other edge, and make sure you get the magenta color. Magenta means it's tangent, and if you get the tangent, you can double click and you will get a fillet. So let's measure this. I want a fillet of around 1 inch. So let's type in 25 from this direction and 25 from this direction. And let's have the guide on all the sides. Now I can create the fillet arc here, and double click. Let's pick this point and this point, double click. This point and this point, double click. And finally the last one is also done. Okay, now we have this. Now in order to create the kind of effect I am looking for, I will be creating a cross section of the mattress, and here I need the thickness of 150. So I'll only draw half of the thickness, half of the profile, because I am going to use a follow me tool. Okay, and I will do the fillet on this object as well. So I need 25 and 25. I think it got offsetted in the wrong direction. It offset on the blue axis, and from here also on the blue axis 25. Now I'll draw the arc. This one did not get erased because it is connected to another face. Okay, now we have the profile, right, and we have the path. I can erase this. I can double click or triple click to select the path, and we have the path. Then we can go to follow me and click on this object, and thus you can see we have mattress which has got fillet on from all the direction, right? And if we have additional lines, we can erase them. I'm not holding the shift key, we can erase them directly because these are flat surfaces, and I can erase the original part, we don't need it. And also reverse the faces. Thus we have a very smooth edges. Now again, we will simplify this work once we get used to plugins. Thus we have this mattress, and let's add detail to this component. I'll start with an offset. Let's go with an offset of 25 and add a copy from here. Let's say 100 or 150, and create some detail for a drawer. So we have a drawer here, and I'll just create a circle at the center somewhere in the center here, and center for this will be here. And let's draw a circle to represent that this is a handle to open. And let's say we have this will go inside, and since both of them are components, we need to edit only one of them. And furthermore, we can do more details here. Let's increase the height to 150, let's say, or 300. And I will also create some detailed design here, just to show that we can create any kind of design. Right, and I can push pull this towards the edge, and I can just double click them to repeat the push pull. Okay, and similarly we can also start detailing, adding detail to the wardrobe. Let's add the door windows here. Now I need to get rid of all the guides first. Let's go to view, edit, and delete guides. Let's create the windows. First I'm starting with the rectangle to cover the opening, and convert this into a group. Double click, offset this. I'll take in a dimension of 75, enter, and again convert this into a group and give it a thickness of, let's say, 75 only. Now we have this is a group, and this is just a face inside the group. So I'll further divide this into two parts, and I'll get rid of the second part because I will make detail here, and I'll mirror this and create this as a component. So I only need half of it. So I'll offset this and give it a thickness of 50, frame width of 50, and then from depth create this into a group, push this inside and give it a thickness of 50 or 30, and create this into a group because this will be my glass. Now I prefer to give a thickness to the glass also, because in that case I am avoiding the negative faces. Many people do not want the thickness on a glass, but it's again a personal choice. I gave it a thickness of 6 millimeters to represent a real thickness of glass. Now you can see that we created the window, which is this particular frame, and within this we have this frame, and within this we have the glass. Now these two needs to be connected, so I'll convert both of them. I'll select both of them and convert this into a component. I'll call this window panel and create this into a group. Now I need to move the glass to the center of the frame, right, because it is not properly placed. So for that I can go inside, pick the glass only. Now I'm not able to see inside the lines inside the glass, right? So for that we can turn on the styles toolbar, and in the styles toolbar we have a few modes. One is the X-ray mode, then one we have the wireframe mode, and there is another one where we have we can turn on and off the back edges. Okay, now by default I prefer to use the back edges, and for turning on the back edges we have a shortcut of K, which is a default shortcut. Now if I turn on the back edges, I can see the edges that are behind, right? So I can pick the midpoint of the glass and move it to the midpoint of the frame, and thus we have the frame properly located. And similarly I am going to place this the center of the frame, and I can now turn off the back edges by typing the K button again. Now I will be mirroring this. I can just copy it, but I prefer to do the mirror. So let's move this a little bit and mirror it along the red axis, and I'm holding this. I'm not holding any key, I'm just moving it on the red axis, and once I get -1, or I can type in -1 also, I will click and complete the mirror. Now why I always mirror while creating a symmetrical object? That's because if I go inside here, one of the component, and if I do a change, let's say I have added a handle, then I can get it on the other side as well, and in the right position, and not on this side, right? So I'm not going to add this detail at the moment, but that's why I always prefer to mirror it. Let's add few details here also. Let's start with this 100, and remaining part will be divided. So in order to divide the face, I will use the divide tool. If you remember, we can divide a particular distance by a number of divisions. I will just copy this edge to the other edge of the cabinet and type in the divide key, and if I need, let's say, 5 divisions, I'll type in 5 and press enter, and we have 5 divisions of the wardrobe, right? And let's push this a little bit inside, let's say 25, and thus we have our wardrobe with the divisions as well. Now this is how we create our model, and we can go on adding more details as per our need. Okay, let's add the door as well. The same way, I will start with creating the rectangle and double click it and create it into a group. Offset it, give it a thickness to the frame, and I don't want this, so I will move the frame to the edge, right? Now I will convert this into a group can and then give it a thickness of 75, enter, and this will be my door panel, creating it in a group. Push pull this and give it a thickness of, let's say, 35, enter. Thus we have the door as well, and we need to move the door panel to the center and move, pick the move tool, move, then typing in K to turn on the back edges and move it to the center like this, and we will also move the entire door to the center of the wall. This will be here. Okay, and let's try to open the door. Now in order to open the door, I can simply use the rotate tool. I'll pick this as the center, but I need to rotate it along the blue axis, so I'll type in up arrow key so that I can pick it the blue axis, and I'll rotate it and give it an angle of 90 degree. Thus we have the door along with the frame. I can go on adding the doorknob and everything, but just for your understanding, we can model like this. Now I will be introducing two new concepts here for those of you who are new. First is the concept of layers, and second will be the concept of materials. Now let's start with layers. I have the walls, and let's go to the layers panel, which is this one. In case of SketchUp 2020, the layers are called tags. So if you don't see the name layers, you will see the tags layer, and in case you don't see it here, it will be under Windows default tray, or here there will be either it will be called layers or tags. Now, by default we have only untag layer, or in older versions it will be called layer 0. So we can create layers by this button, add tag. I'll add a layer which I'll call, you can use your own naming conventions. If you're familiar with CAD, then you can use your naming conventions from CAD layers, architectural, walls, then brick. And I have created the layer, but I need to move this object to that particular layer. Now there are different ways. One way to do is, if you can do that from this layer toolbar. In case you don't see any of the toolbars, you can right click somewhere here and you can turn it on or off. The layer toolbar, the tags, it's called tags, yeah. You can turn it on, and I can move this to the layers tool. Now if I select the object, and in the entity info also, you will see that it has got the tag of arc wall brick, right? And I will move this to a window toolbar, a window layer. This one into doors. Then in order to keep all the furniture together, I would recommend you to select all the furniture, no matter how many furniture you have on your model, and convert them all into a group. And this group will we will add to a layer for which we will call furniture tag and add it to the furniture layer. Now I can turn on or off the windows there. Now we have only one window, that's why I didn't create a group of windows, but if I had, let's say, more than one windows, then I would select all the windows and convert this into a group and then add the group to the windows layer. Now we have the brick walls and the furniture, the door and the window. Now the slab needs to be added as well. So let's say RCC slab and convert this, add this to the RCC slab. Now for better organization, make sure that you never create anything on any of these layers. All the new objects must be created on the untag layer. That means this is the current layer. So if I create anything, any of the objects, it will be created on the 0 layer, or the untag layer. After I convert this into a group or a component, only the group and component will be added to one of the layers. Okay, now this is important because we don't want to mess with the faces. Okay, so let's say if we turn off, create this move this particular face to a different layer, and then later on turn off or on or off a layer, then you may find some unwanted results due to the not proper organization of the faces. So just make it a habit that create everything inside make everything in the untag layer, layer 0, and convert the group and the order component and give it the designated layers which you want it to have. Okay, let's delete this now. And I can select all of these and create it into a group. If I am going to repeat this, I will be creating this into a component. Now let's have it as a group. Now we have created all the groups and components and everything. Let's get rid of this. But we need to rename them. Let's name them also so that we can identify them. We'll call this bedroom. Then inside the bedroom we have the walls, right? Rename. Then we have the furniture group. Now I'll rename this as the furniture group. And within here we have the slab. I'll call this floor slab. This is the window. You can use your own convention. This is the door. And within the furniture, we have a double bed, which we already had named while creating the component. And this is not a component, so I can rename this and give it the name of wardrobe. Naming is important because firstly, we can identify them. Secondly, we will be exporting our schedules from the SketchUp model. So if you are not able to understand the names, then you will not be able to identify them and create schedules out of it. So from now only, make it a habit to name all of your groups and components. So we have got everything in layers. I can turn on or off individual groups or components, right? And also I can turn off the layers, right? Now, if you want to check the layers, you can click here and click on the color by tags or color by layers. You can see that all the furniture objects are inside, are having the same layer, which is this layer, this color. Then the window is having the layer color of turquoise color or so, and door has got the individual color. So we can check whether we have applied the right layers by turning on the color by layer option here. Now, next thing which I wanted to introduce was materials. Now, again, you need to understand the concept of material. Don't apply, as far as possible, don't apply materials directly on faces. Try to apply the materials on groups or components. I'll cover materials in depth, but just remember this thumb rule. So in this window, I will add the materials. Let's go inside one step. I'll click again. Now we have the windows. Now I will go inside again. Now we have the frame. Now here you can see that I can select this particular glass, or I can go inside and pick the faces of the glass, right? So if I apply material, let's say if I apply this transparent blue material here, and even on the other side, I have applied the materials, right? So I need to apply it on both faces, right? So I need to apply the material here as well as on the other side also. But since I know that this is a glass, this is a group here, so it will have the same material on all the faces, right? So instead I will apply material as a whole to the group. So I just need to apply it once, and you can see the other sides of the faces will also have the glass material, and in fact these faces will also have the glass material. So that's a quicker way, and also it will help everything to be in a proper organized way. So similarly, I can add material to this group, and I don't want everything to have the same material, so I'll go one step again inside. Now I can select the headboard, so I'll pick up a wooden material. Let's start with this one and apply the material here. Now I can just pick and apply the material, and all the details, all the parts will have the material, right? So instead, if I had gone inside and if I wanted to apply the material, then I would have click, and I need to apply them individually on the individual faces. But I will apply this quickly, and here we have, let's apply them on the sideboards as well and at the base. And you can also change them at a much easily if you apply them on a group level instead of the faces. Let's apply this one here also. And on the mattress, let's apply some other material. Let's go to the fabric. I'll just pick one of fabric material randomly and apply it as of now. So thus you can apply materials much quicker if you apply them on groups, that is directly on the level where you want to apply the material. Yes. So that would be all from my side for today. We had covered, we had understood what all things we had learned till now and applied them practically. That is, we had created guides using the tape measure tool. We had created doors and windows by using the push-pull and understood the concept of groups and components. and the use of groups and components within this small 3D model. And also we learned about materials and adding our objects into layers. Can you please show the placing of windows and doors at the center of the wall thickness? Sure. I have not placed this window yet to the center of the wall. So let's pick this window. I need to select the window and I will press in K to turn on the back edges. Right, so I can see the back edges right now and move. Now I know that this is the center of my window, right? So I need to pick the center of my window as my reference point. And in order to move it to the center of the wall thickness, I'll pick this point and center of the wall thickness. I will move this and you can see that it will say midpoint in walls. Now since we renamed the group as wall, so it will say midpoint in walls, right? So if we had not renamed it, then it will not say call it a wall, or it will call it a group. So thus we have placed it in the midpoint. And I can turn off the back edges by typing in K again. Is K customized shortcut? No, it's a default shortcut. And you can also use the K tool while placing these furniture. Let's say type in K to pick the point for here. Now I don't see the back edges because we have the materials applied already. So I can pick in the center of a bed and place it in the center of the wall by typing in the K key. Now you can explore with these styles. We have few different styles for the faces. We will cover them when we cover styles in details later on, but these are just the basic styles which you can explore. We have monochrome, texture, we have just the shaded colors, and this is the black and white, and we have wireframe. And the one we were doing was turning on the back edges. It was this one. And you can also toggle the X-ray key to see everything as if they are transparent. So I want you all to create a space or a room which will have at least a few furniture and maybe a door and a window, or maybe few doors and windows, and add them in the proper level of groups and components. Name the groups and components and also add them to the proper layers. Create layers and add them to the layers. Okay, so that would be the assignment for today, for tomorrow, I meant. So you can create any room, not specifically a bedroom, and make sure you create everything in the 0 layer or the untagged layer, and then add the groups or the components to the proper layer which we need the objects to be. Okay then, thank you. See you tomorrow.